Welcome to the home of WWE news, rumors, and gossip in real time. Click the bell, subscribe, and turn on all notifications today. Don't forget to become a channel member and send a super thanks donation below. And now, your host. He is the most consistent and dedicated in YouTube history, SeanzViewEnt.
Four massive stories, viewers. Yes, you heard that right. Four massive stories that paint a picture of WrestleMania 42. The rumors, the news, the dynamics that are going into this, you are not going to want to miss a beat because we are going to defeat it. Ladies and gentlemen, a picture of WrestleMania 42 that nobody inside TKO wants you to see clearly. A Grammy-winning music superstar who has no idea he may have just made it impossible for WWE to build their WrestleMania stage in time. Ticket sales running nearly 20% behind last year in a way that makes CM Punk's pipe bomb about pricing land like a Triple H sledgehammer shot to the skull. One of the rarest and most exciting creative moves in professional wrestling being discussed for WrestleMania 42 weekend that you're not going to want to miss. And the WWE Champion looking at all of it and calling it normal. By the end of tonight, you are going to understand exactly how serious the situation is and exactly why the people inside TKO are hoping nobody connects the dots before Las Vegas. Now, you're going to want to stay with me because we have a lot to serve up to you because we're going to satisfy your taste buds as it concerns all things professional wrestling talk. Welcome back, everybody. SeanzViewEnt, WWE's #1 tabloid news and rumors and gossip channel. 4 stories, all confirmed, all significant, all pointing in different aspects of the same WrestleMania 42 build that has been the most chaotic, the most discussed in recent memory. Maybe not for all the good reasons, though. Maybe for not all the right reasons, ladies and gentlemen. WrestleMania 42 stage construction inside Allegiant Stadium has been pushed again to now April the 13th because Bruno Mars currently, right now, is holding concerts there on April 10th and April 11th. 6 days to build one of the most complex production sets in sports entertainment history. Yes, you heard that way. 6 days, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that doesn't leave a whole hell of a lot of time. Now, there's been a lot of rumor, a lot of gossip, a lot of speculation about how the WWE is going to go about this. Is it going to be a mediocre set? Is it going to be a half-ass set? Hell, is there going to be no set? We're going to drill you, and we're going to get into this, the explosiveness and the exclusivity of this. Ladies and gentlemen, WrestleMania 42 ticket sales are currently running 19.1% behind where they were at the same point last year. And that's with all these, bonus extras and all these add-ons and 25% off and 31.6% off and 25% off. They're running all these sales. The WWE is trying to do everything they can to sell out WrestleMania, but it is still not being sold out according to those in the know. And why would it be sold out with the mediocre build, with the piss-poor angles, the storylines? How really was TKO expecting anything different here? Again, WrestleMania 42 ticket sales are currently running again 19.1% behind. Now, that's not the only issue here. That is not the only problem because you combine that, viewers, with everything else that is happening this week as it concerns WrestleMania, the backlash, the fallout from SmackDown last night for the second week in a row about Pat McAfee. Now, this really tells a story that nobody at TKO wants to address publicly. Story number 3, WWE has discussed internally about the possibility of a massive double turn at WrestleMania 42. Yes, you heard that right. Involving Sami Zayn and Trick Williams over the United States Championship of this world. The idea, well, it came from the crowd. Organic, real, natural, potentially one of the most exciting creative moments of WrestleMania weekend. Story 4, Cody Rhodes responds publicly to the chaotic WrestleMania 42 build and called it a normal WrestleMania. And I want to spend some real time on what all this means, guys, because real time on that word tonight. Let's go story by damn story because this sounds almost funny on the surface, guys. Now, starting with Bruno Mars, a pop star accidentally delaying WrestleMania production. But when I walk you through the actual logistics of what WWE Productions team is now facing, and when I tell you the scenario that nobody is saying out loud right now, this stops being funny very quickly. Let me give you the confirmed facts first. According to BodySlam.net, production for the WrestleMania 42 stage inside Allegiant Stadium is scheduled to begin on April the 13th. And no, this is not an April Fool's joke. Bruno Mars is holding concerts there yesterday and now tonight. The WrestleMania 42 set will officially be revealed at the end of next week on social media. Now, let me put that timeline in perspective. WrestleMania 42 Night 1 is April the 18th. Night 2 is April 19th. Production starts April 13th. 5 days. Ladies and gentlemen, just think about that. 5 days to build one of the biggest, one of the most elaborate WrestleMania builds and stages from scratch, guys. 5 days. And here is the scenario that nobody is laying out loud except for the brash and the brazen. That everyone involved in this large-scale live event production understands there is a real possibility given this timeline. What if there is no stage? What if there isn't enough time, ladies and gentlemen? Not a bad stage, not an incomplete stage, not a mediocre stage, no stage. We're just talking about a WWE logo, guys, a live event setup, perhaps. Now, I am not saying that this is what's going to happen, okay? I am saying that the window that the WWE is working inside is so compromised due to Bruno Mars that the scenario where production issues prevent the full stage from being built and installed before night one is not a fantasy. It is a legitimate logistical risk. It is a legitimate nightmare for WrestleMania 42, as if WrestleMania 42 wasn't already facing enough logistical nightmares, okay? But that WWE's production team is racing to avoid right now. Here is what most fans do not understand about what goes into building a WrestleMania set. WrestleMania is not a ring and some lights. It is one of the most technically complex live event productions in the entertainment industry. The stage structure also involves thousands of individual components: LED panels, support rigging, pyrotechnic installations, camera platforms, entrance tunnel architecture, lighting grids, floor staging, and a ring structure that has to be built and independently certified to specific safety standards before any performer sets foot in it. And each of those components has to be delivered to the venue. They have to map it out. They have to think about it. Now, each has to be assembled to perfection by specialized crew. Each has to be tested and approved before the show, before the next component goes in. You cannot install the LED system before the structural rigging is certified. You cannot certify the ring before the floor staging underneath it is locked. It is a process, viewers. It is a very, very big process that cannot be rushed and pass certain safety checkpoints, regardless of how many crew members you throw at it. A major concert production like Bruno Mars' own show last night and now tonight typically requires 4 to 5 days of setup for a single night of performance, with a crew that has done that exact same show dozens of times before. WrestleMania requires a production setup that dwarfs any concert stage. It has to be fully operational for 2 consecutive nights, and WWE's crew is building it in 5 days. What kind of stage are we going to get? What can we anticipate? I mean, the build and the build has been lackluster for WrestleMania. This year, it doesn't even feel like WrestleMania. But ladies and gentlemen, WWE's crew is building this in 5 days with zero margin for error and zero buffer if anything goes wrong. Now, here is where no stage scenario becomes genuinely possible, okay? Equipment shipping delays. They happen at every major live event. A truck that was supposed to arrive on April 13th arrives April 15th, or even worse. That is 2 days gone before a single component is installed. Weather events in Las Vegas in April can create outdoor rigging delays. A single unexpected wind event can shut down crane operations for hours. A structural certification failure on any component means that that component has to be rebuilt and recertified before anything that depends on it can proceed. Any one of those things in a normal production timeline is manageable. You eat the delay and you adjust. In 5 days, though, in a 5-day window for WrestleMania 42, this could be absolutely catastrophic. With WrestleMania 42 going live on April 18th, regardless of what has been built, there is no eating the delay. There is no adjusting. There is only what is standing in that stadium when the doors open, ladies and gentlemen. WWE's production team is genuinely world-class. They have pulled off miracles before, but they have never been asked to build WrestleMania in 5 days. After Bruno Mars played 2 concerts in the same building 72 hours earlier, and the 40,000 people walking into the Allegiant Stadium on April the 18th are going to see exactly what that combination of circumstances produces. Now, whether that is the most spectacular WrestleMania stage ever built under impossible circumstances or something significantly less than what they expected, nobody inside WWE can guarantee right now. That is not speculation. That is what 5 days means. And when you are building one of the most complex live productions in sports entertainment. And here is the number one. And here is the number that makes the Bruno Mars situation even more alarming. because WrestleMania 42 is not just facing a production timeline crisis. It is facing a ticket crisis too. And the specific number that dropped this week, when you put it next to everything that else is happening, should generally concern everyone inside TKO right now and, of course, the WWE itself. Here is the confirmed data point, guys. WrestleMania 42 ticket sales are currently lagging and are falling behind at a 19.1%, where they were at the same point last year. Let me put that number into context before we go any further. Last year's WrestleMania was considered a commercial success by most measures. It was sold out or near sold out. It generated the kind of attendance numbers that TKO uses in earning calls and press releases to demonstrate the health of their flagship product. It was the baseline they are now being measured against. And WrestleMania 42, with a bigger stadium and a Las Vegas location that should theoretically driven tourism interest, with a card that features CM Punk versus Roman Reigns in what could be one of the most anticipated main events in years, is still running 19.1% behind the baseline and that also involves Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes and one of the biggest WrestleMania main events of night one of all time. Now that is not crap. No, that is a significant gap. And here is, well, the build has been crap, but here is why it matters beyond just a ticket sale story. Cast your mind back to Monday Night Raw this week. CM Punk gets on that microphone and has a pipe bomb of pipe bombs and says, Houston, lower the prices, because I want all those families to come and watch me stand on Roman Reigns' throat at WrestleMania. TKO edited that line out of their official social media post. Community notes went up immediately pointing out the edit. And now we have a confirmed data point showing WrestleMania 42 ticket sales are nearly 21% behind last year, ladies and gentlemen. Nearly 20%, excuse me. CM Punk was not just venting on that microphone. He was identifying a real and documented problem with how TKO has been pricing this event. And TKO's response? Edit the promo, silence the messenger, remove the evidence from social media, did nothing to address the underlying problem that the ticket numbers are now confirming publicly. WWE did lower ticket prices after the pipe bomb and the public reaction. And WrestleMania 42 Night 2 has surpassed 40,000 tickets following that adjustment. But the overall ticket price is 19.1% behind last year, tells you that the damage from the initial pricing strategy was real and the recovery has not been complete. And Cody Rhodes is calling this a normal WrestleMania this week, and maybe he is right about a lot of it, but 19.1% ticket sales gap compared to last year is not normal. And it is the number that gives CM Punk's pipe bomb more credibility than any promo on Raw has had in years. Any promo on Raw has had in years. Now, we are switching stories completely right here, and I want you to understand something before I tell you what is being reported. Because everything that we just covered, you deserve something to be genuinely excited about heading into WrestleMania 42. And the next story will do just that. It is one of the most genuinely exciting things I have heard and read about all week. A double turn in professional wrestling. Now, I wish it was going to happen to Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. I'm hoping it was going to happen in that, but it doesn't look like that will be the case. Two performers enter a match with defined roles. One is the hero the audience cheers for. One is the villain the audience boos. And by the end of the match, those roles have been completely reversed, kind of like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart all the way back at WrestleMania 13 in Chicago, Illinois. The hero is now the villain is now the hero, and it happened organically in front of a live audience without a single announcement of storyline explanation. It is one of the rarest and most difficult creative achievements in professional wrestling for one simple reason. You cannot force it. You cannot mandate it from a corporate level. You cannot script the crowd into changing how they feel about two performers in real time. A double turn only works when the audience is already moving in that direction naturally. When the crowd reaction has been shifting week by week until the live audience arrives at that match already primed for the flip. The greatest double turn in wrestling history, again, Hart versus Austin, WrestleMania 13, 1997, was not fully planned as a double turn. It happened because the audience feelings about both performers has been shifting for months, and the match itself pushed the crowd the rest of the way. That is the context that you need for what BodySlam.net is reporting about Sami Zayn and Trick Williams at WrestleMania. Now, WWE has discussed internally the idea of doing a double turn with Sami Zayn and Trick Williams at WrestleMania 42. The concept involves flipping both performers during a match itself, turning Zayn into the villain, the bad guy, the heel, while pushing Williams into a more heroic role. And here is the detail that makes this genuinely exciting. The idea reportedly came from the crowd, not from a creative meeting, not from a corporate directive, not from ESPN or TKO or any outside influence, not Triple H, from the audience. And according to reports, weeks of changing crowd reactions drove this conversation internally. Zayn has been getting more negative responses. He's been getting more boos than cheers. What the industry calls go-home heat, meaning that the audience is turning on him as a babyface. Williams has been getting louder and louder crowd reactions on SmackDown every week. The kind of organic momentum that you cannot manufacture. No matter how much production budget you throw at a character, the audience has been voting with their reactions all week, and WWE is apparently listening to this one. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what this means in the context of everything else happening this week. WWE scrapped SmackDown plans because the audience rejected Pat McAfee's involvement. The Usos theme got dumped because the crowd told them it was wrong. And now here is a double turn discussion that came directly from the audience reaction shift over weeks. In all three cases, the audience spoke. And in all three cases, the WWE listened. That is the wrestling company that Triple H was put on place to run. And the possibility of a genuine organic double turn at WrestleMania 42 executed in front of 40,000 fans in Las Vegas is exactly the kind of moment that reminds you why professional wrestling at its best is unlike anything else in entertainment. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and now, if you can believe this one, viewers, the WWE champion calling this WrestleMania build normal is exactly what the corporate communication playbook requires. It is not lying. It is managing the narrative. It is the job. But here is the detail that makes this story genuinely fascinating. We confirmed earlier this week from Fightful Select and Cage-Side Seats that Cody Rhodes is among the talent who's legitimately frustrated about TKO's interference in his WrestleMania storyline with the Viper Randy Orton by inserting Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee. That frustration is documented. That frustration is real. And yet publicly, after SmackDown fallout, after the ticket sale numbers, after all of it, Cody Rhodes looked at the camera and said, normal WrestleMania. That gap between what is being reported privately and what is being said publicly is the most revealing thing about WWE's current situation that any performer could communicate without saying a single conversational word. Cody Rhodes is good at his job in every sense of that phrase. Now let me connect all four stories because Bruno Mars, the ticket sales gap, the Sami Zayn double turn, and Cody Rhodes calling this normal are not separate stories. They are four different angles on the exact same WrestleMania 42. Bruno Mars accidentally created a production crisis for WrestleMania that WWE's world-class team is now solving under a tight deadline because external scheduling pressures created a situation nobody planned for. That is the WrestleMania 42 behind-the-scenes logistics story. Tickets running 19.1% behind last year confirms what CM Punk said on Raw this week about the price strategy for this event damaging attendance numbers in a way that a late adjustment has not fully repaired. That is the WrestleMania 42 business story, ladies and gentlemen. Four angles, one show, 1 week away. That production team is building the stage in 5 days. The ticket gap is real and documented. Zayn and Williams might execute one of the rarest moves in wrestling on the biggest stage of the year, and the WWE champion is managing the narrative so well that you cannot tell from the outside where the performer ends and where the genuine belief begins. That is professional wrestling in 2026, and WrestleMania 42 is going to be something, regardless of every chaotic thing that happened this week to get there. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 questions tonight for my viewers, my fans, and my subscribers. 3 questions, and I want real answers in the comment section. First, WrestleMania 42 ticket sales running 19.1% behind last year. Does that number surprise you? And does it prove that CM Punk's pipe bomb about prices was more important than anyone at TKO wanted to admit? Second, the double turn. Do you want to see it happen at WrestleMania 42, or do you wish it was happening during the Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes match? Now, and if it does, it could be the match of the weekend. And third, Cody Rhodes calling this a normal WrestleMania build. Do you believe him, or is he just doing his job so well that you cannot tell the difference? I read every comment. I heart them all. I react. I respond to everyone as much as I can. Subscribe to SeanzViewEnt now and ring that bell. WrestleMania 42 is under a week away. At this time next week, we will be going live for WrestleMania 42 to give you the most insightful, to give you the most in-depth. Ladies and gentlemen, here is where we land tonight. 5 days, zero margin for error, and a production team that has delivered miracles before being asked to deliver yet another one. And Cody Rhodes looked at all of it and called it normal. Maybe he is right. Maybe every WrestleMania looks like this from the inside. We just have more visibility into it now than we ever did before, especially with WWE Unreal on Netflix. Or maybe Cody Rhodes is very simply very good at his job. WrestleMania 42, Las Vegas, days away. I will be back the moment anything new surfaces. Until then, you know where to find me. Also, follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to go by. This is the Brash and the Brazen. I will never be mistaken or overtaken because Sean's View Entertainment is here to give you the logistics, to give you the dominating, to give you the most unapologetic version of WWE news on this very website. For over a decade now, for over 10 years, I have been the premier place through all the ups and downs, through all the rights and all the wrongs, through all the struggles, through all the sleepless nights, through all the stressful days. I have come here to give you the craze because Sean's View Entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, is always going to take you above and beyond the call of duty. And ladies and gentlemen, Sami Zayn, funny enough, Sami Zayn last night on SmackDown says, I don't care. And I don't understand why you're booing me. Well, Sami Zayn may understand all that and much more come WrestleMania night. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking at this from start to finish, from beginning to end, the best thing about this entire card so far up to this point as it concerns everything, the overall presence, is going to be Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, okay? That has been built up beautifully in my estimation. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, okay? Not perfect, but definitely something worthy of our time to say, you know what? That was cool. That was epic. You know what I'm saying? Again, well, maybe not epic, but it's been the better part of the building, and even that could have been better. But again, guys, you can't just sit here and nitpick at every single little thing. However, this is WrestleMania, and everything's got to be near picture perfect, and it has been anything but picture perfect. Sean's View Entertainment to provide you with all the news and all the rumors. Why? Because if it weren't for you, there would be no Sean View. Click that subscribe button, and if I haven't earned your subscription, if I haven't earned you to click that bell and turn on all notifications, well then, quite frankly, I don't know what else I have to do to prove to you that I am in it to win it. Subscribe.